Certainly, one of the most beloved and enigmatic characters in Berserk is the Skull Knight. Many mysteries surround this character, and one of the most intriguing enigmas is what happened during the Eclipse, where he was cursed. What happened to the ancient members of the God Hand who cursed him? After all, did the Skull Knight really eliminate all the former members of the God Hand? Let's explore these questions in this video. Revisiting the history, we know that in the past, the Skull Knight went through an eclipse, during which he lost his kingdom and his beloved. Examining the memories of this event, we observe that the members of the God Hand involved in that ritual were different from those we know today. The fan theory suggests that, during this eclipse, the Skull Knight may have assumed a more savage form, allowing the Berserk armor to take control, leading him to eliminate 4 members of the God Hand, leaving only Void alive. Some suggest that the Skull Knight did not necessarily kill all these angels during the eclipse, but, over time, eliminated them, resulting in the current composition of the God Hand with Conrad, Ubik, Void, and Slan. It's relevant to mention that all of these are just theories. I do not recall any moment in the story explicitly stating that the Skull Knight killed the ancient members of the God Hand. However, this is a rather fragile clue, and I will explain why. First, let's understand the composition of the God Hand, as seen in the Eclipse. The main symbol of the God Hand is a hand, and the symbolism behind it is that the members of the God Hand are the executors of God's will, a figure in itself quite enigmatic in Berserk, deserving a specific video. We know that a common human hand has 5 fingers, and the same applies to the God Hand in Berserk, which has 5 fingers. Each finger is represented by an angel. In summary, the complete composition of the God Hand, as far as we know, is 5 members. The eclipse is an event that occurs every 216 years, and with each eclipse, a new angel of the God Hand is born. However, a problem arises. If an eclipse occurs every 216 years, and with each eclipse, a new member is added to the group, what happens when there are already 5 angels, and a new eclipse arrives? Although not explicitly stated in the work, it is almost obvious that during an eclipse, a new member will replace an old one. We saw that in the eclipse where the Skull Knight was a victim, Void and 4 other angels were present, but we don't see them anymore. This probably means that before Void took over, the oldest angel left the group to make room for him. This would repeat with Slan, Ubik, Conrad, and Femto in the next eclipses. The evidence against the theory that the Skull Knight eliminated the ancient members of the God Hand is that it does not seem in Berserk's work that the angels fear him. The apostles fear him, as seen in the scene where he avoids Rickard's death, but the God Hand angels have never shown fear of the Skull Knight. Skull Knight's combat journey against the God Hand seems to be a journey of failure, as he rarely manages to prevent major catastrophes. In confrontations with the God Hand, he has not had great success, even after creating the Sword of Resonance. Another point to consider is that there is nothing in the official Berserk guide indicating that Skull Knight has killed any member of the God Hand. I can't recall any manga quotes about it. In summary, I can't think of anything in Berserk's work that confirms or is strong evidence that Skull Knight eliminated the other 4 members of the God Hand. The cycle of member replacement seems to be the most likely explanation. It's essential to clarify that I have nothing against this theory. In fact, I would find it amazing if it were true. If confirmed one day, it would be a fascinating addition to the narrative. However, some people talk about this theory as if it were an absolute truth, to the point of considering it a mistake not to acknowledge the story that Skull Knight eliminated the ancient angels as true. It's an interesting theory but lacks substantial foundations. I hope I have addressed this issue well. Remember, I'm not stating that the theory is false, just that we have few consistent manga pieces of evidence. What do you think of this theory? Does it make sense? Share your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Until next time.